The rain fell hard against the small hospital window in St. Mary's Medical Center in Chicago. Outside, the city moved as if nothing had changed. But for Emily Parker, time had stopped 3 days ago the moment the doctors told her that her husband, Michael, wouldn't wake up. She sat by his bedside, rosary tangled between her trembling fingers. The monitor beside her beeped with mechanical precision, each tone mocking the chaos inside her heart. God, are you even listening? She whispered. Or have you forgotten us? Emily had prayed before exams, before job interviews, before her father's heart surgery. But never like this. Now, her prayers were desperate. Like someone banging on a door that would not open. Every night she begged for a sign. Every morning, she woke up to silence. The chaplain, Father Anthony, stopped by that afternoon. He had kind eyes and an old, worn Bible tucked under his arm. You've been here all night again, he said softly. You need rest. Emily, how can I rest when my husband is dying? She snapped, then caught herself. I'm sorry, Father. I just didn't understand. Why would God allow this? Michael's a good man. He volunteers at the shelter every weekend. Father Anthony didn't answer right away. He looked at the rain against the glass, as if trying to find words inside the storm. Sometimes, the silence of God isn't his absence, he said. It's his way of asking us to trust what we can't yet see. Trust? Emily's voice broke. How can you trust someone who doesn't answer? Father Anthony placed a small medal of the Virgin Mary in her hand. Then start by trusting her, he said. She knows what it means to stand beneath a silent heaven. That night, the hospital lights dimmed, and the world outside grew quiet. Emily rested her head against Michael's hand, whispering prayers that felt empty. Hail Mary, full of grace. Her voice cracked. Where are you? Mother? Why does he stay silent? The hours dragged on. Machines hummed. The rain stopped. And in that endless quiet, Emily's faith began to crumble. She thought of the day they met. During a youth retreat in Boston, Michael had laughed easily, prayed deeply, loved gently. He was everything she wanted to believe. The world still held kindness, hope, faith. And now he lay still, caught between heaven and earth. While God said nothing, if you're really there, she whispered toward the ceiling. Say something. Anything. No answer. Just the sound of her own heartbeat and the faint buzz of electricity. Sometime before dawn, exhaustion overtook her. She dozed off, cheek pressed against Michael's arm. And in the space between dreaming and waking, she heard a voice. Soft, gentle, not from the room, but from deep within her. Child, I know this silence. I once stood beneath it too. Emily turned in the dream. A woman stood before her, a figure clothed in white and blue, face both sorrowful and radiant. Who are you? I am the one who watched my son die, and still believed. Emily fell to her knees. Why won't he answer me? Because faith isn't hearing his voice, the woman said. It's holding on when you cannot hear it all. Tears streamed down Emily's face. I'm so tired. Then rest in me, the woman said. I will carry your prayers to him. When Emily opened her eyes, the morning light had broken through the clouds. Days turned into weeks. Michael's condition neither worsened nor improved. Emily began to live in rhythm with the hospital's quiet coffee in the cafeteria, prayers in the chapel, letters she wrote to God but never sent. She began noticing small things. A nurse who brought her tea without asking. A janitor who paused to whisper a prayer before mopping Michael's floor. A little boy down the hall recovering from leukemia, clutching a tiny crucifix his mother had given him. Everywhere she turned, she saw faith still standing, not loud or triumphant, but steady, humble, alive. And in her own heart, something began to shift. She still didn't have answers, but the bitterness that once filled her prayers was being replaced by something quieter: surrender. One morning, the doctor came in with new scans. He spoke gently, but Emily already knew by the way he looked at her. "There's no neurological change," he said. "It's been almost a month. We'll support whatever decision you make, Mrs. Parker." Decision. That word felt like a knife. She went to the chapel again. The candles flickered in front of the statue of the Virgin Mary. Emily fell to her knees. "What do you want from me?" she cried. "You ask me to trust, but I'm being asked to let go." No voice answered this time. Only the hum of air conditioning, the flicker of wax, and the faint scent of incense. And yet, somewhere deep inside, she remembered the woman in her dream. Faith isn't hearing. It's holding on when you cannot hear at all. She whispered, "Your will be done," though her throat ached with the words. That night, she read the Book of John by Michael's bedside. Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. She didn't know why that verse caught her. Maybe because it wasn't about losing, it was about becoming. She kissed Michael's forehead, her tears falling like rain. "If this is the end," she whispered, "then I give you back to him." And for the first time in a month, she slept peacefully. The next morning, when the nurse came in to check vitals, she froze. "Mrs. Parker, look." Michael's hand moved, then his lips. "Emily?" His voice was dry, barely audible but real. Emily gasped, heart pounding. She pressed the call button. The room flooded with nurses and doctors. Machines beeped. Voices shouted. Tears fell, but she didn't hear anything except his voice again. "I'm here." Days later, Michael was sitting up, frail but conscious. The doctors called it unexplained recovery. Emily called it something else. Miracle. But she didn't shout or post about it online. She just went back to the chapel, knelt before the same statue, and whispered, "Thank you for not giving me what I wanted, but giving me what I needed." Father Anthony visited again. "You kept the faith," he said. "Barely." She laughed. "That's enough." He smiled. Even a flicker of faith can outshine the dark. Months passed. Michael recovered slowly. They returned home to their quiet apartment, walls still smelling of incense from the priest's blessing. One evening, Emily sat by the window, journal open. The streetlight outside cast a golden glow over the page. She wrote, "I used to think God's silence meant he had forgotten me. Now I see it was the silence of a father watching his child learn to walk. He wasn't absent, he was patient. And when I fell, he sent his mother to pick me up." The phone buzzed with a message from the hospital nurse who'd cared for Michael. "Still praying for you both," it said. Emily smiled. Prayer had become her second language now. Months later, Emily and Michael started volunteering again, this time with families at the parish who had lost loved ones to illness or addiction. Each story was different, but one thing was always the same: the question, where was God when it happened? Emily never gave long explanations. She'd just hold their hands and say quietly, "He was right there in the silence you thought was empty." Some would cry. Some would shake their heads. Some would just sit in stillness. And in that stillness, she saw the same miracle she had lived, the slow, quiet resurrection of faith. On the anniversary of Michael's awakening, Emily returned to St. Mary's Chapel. The same candles flickered. The same statues stood in calm grace. She took out a small folded paper and began to write. "Dear Mother, 1 year ago, I begged you to speak. I wanted thunder, a sign, a miracle I could see. But you taught me something greater. You taught me that silence is not emptiness, it's the space where love grows. Because of you, I learned that faith is not about proof. It's about presence. And now, every time I hear nothing from heaven, I know that's where God is closest." She placed the letter at Mary's feet, next to a single white rose. As Emily left the chapel, she saw a young woman crying alone in the pews. She looked lost, desperate the way Emily had looked a year before. Emily approached gently. "Do you want me to pray with you?" The woman nodded, eyes swollen with grief. "My son's in surgery. They said it doesn't look good." Emily took her hand, pressed a small Marian medal into her palm. "Keep this," she said, "and remember, when heaven is silent, it doesn't mean God forgot you." The woman clutched the medal tightly, and for a moment, something in her face softened. As Emily walked out into the evening sun, the church bells began to ring. Not loud, not grand, just steady, like a heartbeat, like faith itself. And she whispered again the words that had once saved her. "Don't be afraid. God hasn't forgotten you." Every life faces moments when God seems distant, when the prayers we say bounce back like echoes. But faith, as Emily learned, isn't about noise or signs. It's about endurance. It's about trusting love in the silence. So the next time you feel abandoned, remember her story, and hers is also yours. Hold fast. Wait through the night, for morning will come. And when it does, you'll understand what silence was really saying all along.